Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union, and by Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm Insurance.
By Dive Shop and Dive Ventures nationwide. Jim Harris Chevrolet with George Gully. Napa Cafe Memphis and Glenda Hastings. For Memphis Magazine. The Live at the Garden Concert Series. And the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis. And by Midtrite Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Family owned and operated for more than 40 years. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel, with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And good afternoon, and welcome to Lansky's Clothier to the King in the Peabody Hotel. We've been doing this show now for 7 months. Hard to believe. Way back in April was when our first show appeared here at Lansky's. Our 54th show today. And we thought we'd kind of take a look back at how we progressed and how we do the show. And also find out more about who works on the show. My engineer, producer, Rob Schafer. Usually his wife, Beth, would be here, but she's not here today. My wife would be here, and she's not here today. They both have to take care of other projects. But the good thing about it is that means we can do whatever we want. We have nobody tell us what to do. There's Rob. We're going to go back to our very first show, which we did the first week of April. And the reason we had the two guests we had on in the first show was Hal Lansky and his daughter Julie. Today we're going to show you the Hal Lansky interview, talking about Lansky's and the history, which is one reason I wanted to do it here, because it has such a great history. And we see people coming here every day since we started doing the show here. And they know the history. They could get here, and that's the reason they came here. They've heard about it. Then they come in and they see the clothes. So many people think that this is a jumpsuit store. But they don't sell any jumpsuits here. It's all fine clothing, modern clothing. Some are reminiscent of clothes that Elvis had, and some are exact copies of some of the jackets he wore on Ed Sullivan, Milton Berle, throughout his career until he started wearing mostly jumpsuits. But we're going to go back in time now to the first week of April, and here's our very first guest, Hal Lansky. Our first guest, as it should be, Hal Lansky. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Earl. I got to tell you, we've been in this store for 44 years, and you told me this show's going to be an hour. I have not sat down for an hour in this store in over 44 years. I hope my dad doesn't walk in the door, see me sitting down on this chair, because I'd have to hit the showers.
Well, interestingly, when we came and looked at the location, you said you'd love to do it as long as we didn't talk about politics. I said, done.
Okay.
And then you showed me this table, and I went, well, we're going to need some chairs. I looked around and said, you have no chairs here. We don't sit down at Lansky.
Yeah, and we don't have mirrors in the dress rooms because we want to tell you how good you look. So we want you to come out and we'll tell you how good you look.
Don't let them be the judge of that, right?
Right, exactly.
You've been here 46 years at this location?
No, 44 years. Back, the hotel, a lot of people don't know this. The Hotel Peabody was closed for 7 years. There was a guy a couple blocks from here standing on the balcony, and this guy got shot. He got murdered. And this guy I'm talking about is Dr. Martin Luther King. So when Dr. Martin Luther King got shot, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was 16 years old, and, it was a complete havoc all over the city. So the hotel fell on hard times. It used to be the Sheraton Peabody, and then, of course, Mr. Bells, thank goodness for Mr. Bells, Uncle Jack,
Absolutely.
as everybody calls him.
Yeah.
He bought this hotel. I think I could be wrong a little, but he bought it in a foreclosure sale for $400,000.
On the courthouse steps.
Right, on the courthouse steps. And, of course, Uncle Jack, Mr. Bells, he had the wisdom and the moolah to get this thing going. And really, when the Peabody opened, it's like the rebirth, like the Phoenix, the rebirth of downtown Memphis. And he said to my dad, he said, Bernard, do me a favor. I want you to put a little store in here. So this exact 300 square feet we're talking in today was a tie shop. And we opened up with a tie shop. The door was right over there.
That was it, just ties.
Just ties and maybe some sweaters. And then, of course, 44 years later, I mean, this is it's our home. This is the world headquarters for Lansky's.
Absolutely. And you do sell all over the world.
We do. We have our World Wide Web, www.lanskybros.com. And, we sell all over the world. And we meet people from all over the world. So, this program today.
It's going all over the world.
It's going all over the world, but hopefully it'll go to a lot of Memphians. I hate to say this, but we have more people coming in our store from the UK than we do from Memphis. And when people come in from Memphis, sometimes we'll ring a bell. If we have a Mississippi State cowbell somewhere around in the drawer, so we'll pull it out and ring it. But we'd like to see everybody from Memphis. So hopefully you'll bring us some new business.
Well, every time I come in here, I see somebody from Memphis in here shopping.
Well, we told them you were coming. That's what my dad said. Told everybody when Elvis was showing up, and then everybody would show up here at the store too.
Let's go back in time to the original opening of Lansky's, which was 1946, right after World War II.
Right.
Your dad had been in World War II. He'd gotten out of the service, came back, and he and his brother were saying, what are we going to do? And back then, we had the largest Army depot in the nation over on Airways, and so they could get Army surplus stuff, and it was readily available, plenty of it. And that's where they first started selling was Army surplus stuff and workman's gloves.
Right.
There weren't working clothes in those days, bib coveralls, I guess. But other than that, there weren't blue jeans and khaki pants and all that kind of stuff. And Bernard figured out what the workers needed, what the working man needed, and what the person who liked style needed. And that's where your fame first came.
Right. So 1946, and just want to tell everybody, next year is our 80th anniversary. It's unbelievable. So,
congratulations.
It's awesome. And so they got the store at 126 bill, and the only reason they got it, their dad loaned them $125 to get started.
That's it.
And the only reason they got the store, it had bad karma because the previous shopkeeper got murdered in the store, Mr. Polsky. So when they got the keys, they went in there, and Earle, my dad. There's not a lot of people around, I guess, that knew my dad, but my dad was a very colorful guy.
Yes, he was.
So can we use some profanity on this show?
It's the internet.
It's the internet, okay. So he got the keys, I opened this door, and he walked in there. It was a ladies' resale thrift shop. And he said, oh, my God, this shit is not for me. And he threw that clothing on the street, and within hours, all of it was gone. You got to remember Beale Street. Beale Street's cool now, but Beale Street in the 40s and 50s, 60s, it was a street where the African Americans called their home. It was like if you go to New York, you go
Harlem. Harlem was a big area.
Yeah, you go to Harlem. Yeah, okay. You go to San Francisco. You go to Chinatown. Mm-hmm. So the African Americans felt comfortable at home, and that's where they shopped. A lot of Jewish merchants. There were shoe stores, clothing stores, pawn shops. There were so many different things, and it was a tough street. So there was traffic coming by there all the time. All night. A lot of times they'd ask my dad, "What's your store hours? What's your store hours?" And he said, "Hell, what store hours? When there's people on the streets, we're here. We're open."
Selling.
So 1946 they opened, and after a couple of years, the Army surplus stuff was wearing out. There's a lot of people selling Army surplus, and you're right. Memphis had Army Depot, and they shipped all over the troops, all over the world. And this is maybe why FedEx is here today, because this is America's distribution center.
Absolutely.
So,
well, you mentioned that I knew your dad, and it was an honor and a privilege. I got to do a documentary for your family.
Right.
Because they wanted Bernard to tell it in his own words, because nobody could do it like Bernard.
Right.
And it was an absolute enlightening and a pleasure to get to know him and your entire family. We spent a lot of time together.
You did.
And all the people that I interviewed, because I interviewed everybody that knew Bernard over the years.
Right.
And he was there was nobody like him, and you're not anything like him. I mean, you're your only man, and your personality. Bernard had his, and then we're going to talk to your daughter Julie here in a little bit. She's her own woman. I mean, everybody's, but they have Your dad and Julie have the same thing in common, is you love this business.
Right.
He loved it, and you love it, and Julie loves it.
So getting back to the story, after everybody's selling the same Army surplus, and after a couple of years, the Army surplus started drying up. There was no more Army cots, no more fatigue pants, no more hats, caps, and so anyway, my dad, they needed something to sell. So at that time, my dad started going to New York and went to California and brought back the California looks, Levi's A1 peggers, narrow pants, and my dad used to love to trim the windows. He loved to trim the windows, and he put everything in what he called his lifesaver colors. I don't know if your audience knows what lifesaver colors are, but
like we used to get a pack of
like
lifesavers,
like the candies. You had the orange, you had red, you had yellows, you had greens, and that's what we had the choir groups coming by, the preachers. We had pimps, we had dandies, we had prostitutes late of the evening.
Interesting customers.
Yeah, we did. I mean, the street was
happening place.
It was a happening place, and they say if you hang out on Beale Street on a Saturday night, you won't want to you don't want to do anything else. It was really cool. So a couple of years. We're talking about 1946. I'm gonna I guess digress. Is that the word? I'm gonna move you up to 1952. Okay. Spring or summer 1952. There was this young kid out on the street, and he was looking in the window, and my dad knew that this white kid, pimply-faced kid with greasy hair, was in the wrong place. So he walked out there and he said, "How you doing, young man? Come on in." And this young man said, "Mr. Lansky, I don't have any money, but one of these days I'm gonna come and buy you out." And my dad said to this young man, "Don't buy me out, just buy from me." And my dad showed this young man a little kindness and respect, and this young man turned out to be the greatest entertainer of all time. So, we talk about Elvis a lot, but we've been styling musicians since 1946, and if they were worth their salt, they shopped at our store, and and today. We still get musicians from all over the world. They want to shop where Elvis shopped. They want to walk on the streets Elvis shopped. So
if they come to Memphis, they come. I've seen their tour buses pulled up outside.
Right.
They're coming in and buying clothes at Lansky's. I remember the story that one of your dad told me about Isaac Hayes.
Right.
Came in, walked in the store, and you said this is the first time I'd ever heard of it. Everybody has heard of layaway. You guys had a little system called walkaway.
Okay.
You actually sold these musicians clothes so they could go do a gig to make money to come back and pay you. Nobody else did that before or since.
Yeah. Speaking of what you just said, of course, the songwriting team of Isaac Hayes and David Porter, and we miss David, miss Isaac, but David Porter is still. I mean, you can ask him today, and he'll tell you. That my parents gave him credit when nobody would believe in this young man, and he tells that to me every time I see him.
I talked to David 2 days ago, and I said I want you to come be on the show at Lansky's. He said, "Lansky's?
Yeah,
I'll be there."
Yeah, no,
that's because he hasn't forgotten.
Right. So anyway, getting back to the story, my first we're talking about Isaac Hayes. When my first dad met Elvis, Isaac Hayes, he was so poor. My dad said he had his shoes tied with a baling wire. He didn't have enough money to
get a pair of shoes.
Get a pair of shoes. So in 1972, when Isaac Hayes won the Oscar for the best song of the year, Schafer, the money was rolling in. It was going crazy. So Isaac drove up to the store in the Cadillac. The Pimpmobile, the Cadillac that's in the Rock and Soul Museum, the Stax Museum, the car that goes round and round, that car was in front, and Isaac was so proud of himself. He came in, he said, "Mr. Lansky, look what I got, look what I got. I can even start the car from the inside, and I even got a refrigerator in the back seat." So he was so proud of himself. Yeah. And Elvis did the same thing in 1956 when he sold a million records. RCA gave him German Messerschmitt, and my dad said, "Elvis, that's great." Elvis brought it down. "Mr. Lansky, look at my car." He was so proud of it, and my dad said, "Elvis, I want that car." And 3 months later, my dad had that car. He
still have it, correct?
Right. He had to swap it out for a 2.5-hour shopping spree, and you can listen to that story on our website. Elvis tells a story. But
speaking of that, we have some photos, and you come to Lansky's, and you'll see a lot of these same photos. Or you go online, go to your Facebook page, your website, and see all the photos. This wasn't just some story that you made up. Here's a shot on Beale Street in front of the old store, and remember your dad had a really neat car, a Buick, because I saw a picture of it, black with a red leather interior.
Yep.
I saw one picture of that. I never forgot it. But it was Elvis loved coming here. He loved coming back here, especially after Bernard dressed him for his first appearance on Ed Sullivan.
Right, September 9th, 1956. So the rest of the story goes, Elvis was working as an usher around the corner at Lowe's Theater. And, he got paid on Fridays. He'd come in. Maybe one week he'd buy a pair of fatigues for $1.95. Next week he'd come in, maybe buy a cap. He kept coming. And one day he came in. He said, Mr. Lansky, I'm going to be on national TV show. I'm going to need some outfits. And my dad said, that's great, Elvis. What TV show are you going to be on? He said, I'm going to be on the Ed Sullivan Show. And my dad said, whoa. Back then,
that was it.
Ed Sullivan is bigger than The Voice,
Yep.
bigger than America's Got Talent. This is before social media, before X, before Twitter, before Facebook, and he went to town. So anyway, my dad was showing him some outfits, matching it up, and Elvis looked up. He said, Mr. Lansky, I got a problem. And he said, what's your problem, Elvis? He said, I don't have any money. And my dad said, Elvis, you got a problem, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some credit, but you better pay me back. And, of course, 47 years after his death, he's still paying us back because we have people come in here from all over the world wanting to hear this story I just told them. So
I think that really is a lesson for everybody.
Yeah.
You treated everybody equally,
right?
No matter whether they were broke or whether you thought they were. You didn't sell them these clothes because you knew they were going to make it. You were saying, I'm going to help you because if they didn't have nice clothes to go perform, they weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
And your dad knew that. What was the thing that you learned the most from him? Because he taught you all kind of life lessons.
Well, my dad, it was like a role reversal. He was like the teenage son. I was more
You're
like
the responsible one.
Yeah, I was more like the father. But my dad, he was so cool, man. Everybody thought he was so cool. He would treat everybody so cool, and after you talked to him for a couple of minutes, y'all were like best friends. He'd have homeless people on the streets coming in and say, "Oh, Bernard, where's Bernard at?" And it's just crazy. And he'd come in here. Of course, the Peabody. Everybody that's worth their salt is going to stay at the Peabody, and these CEOs and stuff were coming in, and they were giving a kick out of. But my dad got along with everybody, and I'm talking to, and what's coming in my mind is a story. In the later years, my dad had. I'm going to tell you two stories. My dad had a little dementia, so he greeted everybody. So everybody in the later years that came in the store, he called them, "Hey, doctor, how you doing, doctor?" So they would look at him because like three out of 10 would be a doctor. They said, "How did you know that?" But he was very personal. And the story. Another story is we were at Pete and Sam's one night, and I guess everybody in Memphis has been to Pete and Sam's, where those little lattice bars where you go pick up your pizza and stuff like that. There was this man waiting on a pizza, and he had a towel. Nice young man. Look, it was the end of the day. He looked maybe a little tired. So this man was Fred Smith. So my dad didn't know him. So my dad went over to him and took his tie and turned it over. He said, "Nice tie," and walked away. And then Mr. Smith said to Sam Bomarito, he said, "Who was that man? Who was that masked man?" He said, "That's Mr. Lansky." But he would talk to anybody, and he'd make you really feel good.
What is the one question you hear over and over again about Lansky's and people coming here, especially from other countries? And what do they want to know? Something about Elvis? What was his favorite color? And I know black and pink, which is involved in the Lansky jacket I have on today, which I'm glad you picked that out for me to model. Your dad, did he have that great fashion sense to begin with?
Well, we're all salesmen in here. We after almost 80 years, we're pretty good at what we're doing. But my dad, I would say, he was the original celebrity stylist. But back then, he was just a salesman trying to I guess sell some stuff so he could put me through Christian Brothers. I don't know, but he was original stylist. Nowadays, people have professional titles. What do you do? Well, I am a stylist. My dad was we were just clothing salesmen. So.
But he came up with flipping the collar up.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of things. Elvis shopped with us for 3 decades. He shopped with us at the very beginning to the end. He shopped with us in the 50s. The 50s looks were something like you got on a lot of boucles, a lot of shark skins, a lot of beautiful shiny fabrics, little black and pink outfits, rolled up sleeves, tight pants. That was the 50s. The 60s looked were in the early 60s when he just got out of the Army. It was like the Viva Las Vegas, those real tight suits and those small collars. They call that the Continental look. And then in the middle of the 60s, it was the British invasion. Carmy Streets, mod looks. My dad was the first ones to bring those looks over there, and Elvis loved those looks. Balloon sleeves, bell bottoms, paisleys. You could wear paisley with striped pants as long as the colors there. Everything went to go. Think of lava lamps; it was all in there.
Well, then you had Sam Samuto, who is Sam the Sham.
Yep.
He came up with the whole Nehru jacket and the turban. That was his all.
That was 60s. Yeah. We sold those good. Well, and then the last decade of fashion in the 70s is a decade of fashion I hope never comes back.
Me too.
Because everybody thought they were pimps, man. We were probably the only store in America that had
platform shoes.
No, we had a full-time furrier putting on mink collars and mink cuffs, and Elvis loved the brothers. He loved the brothers. So I'll tell you another story I'm thinking about on Bill Street. I was in Bill Street. I was probably in late teens and stuff. So this guy came in the store. He wanted to look at some shoes. So I showed him some shoes. And during the 70s, it was you called them the Miami Stompers. There were shoes like 3 feet tall. It was unbelievable. So I
never heard the term Miami Stompers.
No, that's what they call it. They come. I want to see some of those Miami Stompers. So then he said, "Okay, I'll take these." And then he came over and he said, "I want to look at a leather coat." So he tried on this real long. This is 70s. It was a orange full-length leather coat. So he tried it on, and then he made a fully circle, and he pulled out a gun on me. I said, "Whoa, whoa!" And my mom said, "Wait, stop him." Well, she used another term. She used she said, "Stop," and I said a Yiddish term. I said, "Lesen gain." That means let him go. So he pointed a gun on him. You're not going to stop him. So he ran out. And I said, "Call the police. Tell him he's wearing an orange coat, a big wide brim hat, and tall heels." And they called him two blocks away because he couldn't run in those shoes. Yeah.
Well, we used to. I came here in '78, less than a year after Elvis passed away. We'd hear calls for it. They'd say, "Subject is wearing a pimp hat and platform shoes."
Yeah.
And they said, "Everybody in Memphis is dressed like that. How are you going to pick him? How are you going to find him?"
So that was the 3 decades Elvis shopped with us. But the Lansky look is when Elvis looked his best.
Yeah.
The 50s when he was young and innocent. That's we take credit for that Elvis's look then. We don't really take credit for jumpsuits. However, and when I was doing research for our book and during the period of the 60s, Angie Marchese let me go through the archives, and there was a couple of Lansky jumpsuits out there, but they were like what you would mow the lawn in, and one of them still had the price tag on it.
But I think if you ask most people what was the look they liked most, was the 50s Elvis.
Yep.
And the jacket I have on now is a perfect example, but everything in here, the shirts, just the style of it, and I think, in fact, I saw a picture today. It showed Grand Central Station and the clothes people wore back then. It was right after World War II. Everybody was wearing suits, ties, hats. You say, you think the fashions are better then or now? We know what they were. They were better then, but now you brought back.
But, Earle, being Clothier to the King is really a double-edged sword, because some people, they don't want anything to do with Elvis when they come in the Peabody. And some people come in and they might be disappointed because they think they're going to step into a time tunnel, like Back to the Future with all these 50s clothes. But at Lansky's here, we try to have everything for everybody. And if you come to the Peabody, we have, if you forget your belt or your tie, we got a beautiful tie. We got a beautiful belt that'll fit you. But we try to be everything to everybody. But we like to... we like to spice it up a little. So, I tell people a lot of times, if you come to Lansky's to get a suit to wear for your job interview, you will not get the job. If you come
to look good.
Yeah. If you come to Lansky's, you get a bank loan from your loan officer at the bank, you will not get the loan. However, if you come to Lansky's, you get a cool suit for Saturday night, a red carpet treatment, you are going to be the belle of the ball. And you might go home with a couple young ladies instead of one,
Hal Lansky, incomparable. And that is the reason we're here, because he agreed to it. He thought it would be fun, and it has been. We're going to take a break and visit with some of our other sponsors, and then we're going to come back and talk about what it's like doing a podcast, because I get asked that all the time. Do you think I could do a podcast? How hard is it to set up? So we'll kind of show you what it takes to do a podcast right after the break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union. We're the proud title sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, coming to you live from Lansky's in the world-famous Peabody Hotel and celebrating all of the great things about our great city, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm so proud to be part of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, streaming live from Lansky's from the Peabody. We will be showcasing not only Napa Cafe, but some great restaurants around town. We look forward to seeing you.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today, and we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carrey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25, and I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching, Earl, and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm, and I'm so excited to be one of the sponsors for the Earle Farrell from Memphis show, broadcasting live from Lansky's at the Peabody. And I'll tell you all about what we've got going on at our office. Gift cards for quotes. No purchase necessary. I'm better looking than a lizard.
Hi, this is Randy Wright from the Dive Shop and Dive Ventures in Memphis. We've been in Memphis over 64 years teaching people to dive, snorkel, and swim. We'd love to have you come join us and have some fun. We're also a part of the Dive Ventures group with 18 locations across the country, stretched from Phoenix to Vienna, Virginia. Please give us a call. We'll be able to take care of you at 999 South Yates in Memphis, or call us at 901-763-DIVE.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright. And I'm his son, Mickey. And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell from Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
And welcome back. And one of the things that makes this show so successful, in addition to our sponsors, are the people that work on the show. Rob Schafer, who has been from day one, actually before day one, because he had just moved back from New York. You moved here for the first time. Your wife, Beth, who worked with the Channel 3 WREG 40 years ago, and then she moved to New York, went to work for CBS, and that's where Rob was already employed there in New York. And they have a vast experience, and so we couldn't have done this show without them, because in a minute we'll get into some of the equipment that it takes to put this show on, because it's every bit as complicated as a television station, and yet we set it up, the entire set and the equipment, on every show, and then take it all down again. And believe me, if you don't know what you're doing, this is like a NASA space shuttle launch every show we do. We've done 54, but all the equipment we'll get into in a minute. But we want you to know more about Beth and Rob. You're originally from California.
Yes, sir. I grew up in Los Angeles, and I guess that's California, Southern California.
The only one I know of.
Yeah.
And did you always plan on getting into broadcasting? Was that your goal?
Well, my father pioneered radio automation, and so I grew up seeing relays and decks, and they would cue themselves up, and it was very cool. It was very cool to be a
So you had
kid.
an aptitude for that kind of thing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so what was your first job?
Oh, good Lord. Well, the first job, let me think. Oh, yeah. I worked at my father's plant, and they had these things called time tapes. Because it was automation, the way you would tell the time is you'd have two decks. One deck had the even minutes, and one deck had the odd minutes. So I would put together the tapes, and there was an announcer. The cool part was there was an announcer guy who would, the time here at KOST is 12:27, and then 27, 29, and then that was all the odd minutes. Well, every now and then he'd screw up, and so he'd miss 12:29. So I would go over to 11:29 and pick off the 29 and edit it into the. So I loved doing editing and audio, and I loved decks. And the coolest thing was they had this thing called the Random Access Spot Locator. The Random Access Spot Locator was a deck, and it had all these switches, and it would play commercials. And you would set which commercial you wanted now, which commercial you wanted then. And this sucker, he'd play the commercial. He'd play the commercial, and then for the next commercial, he would fast forward and go past it, then come back before it.
Cue it up.
Slowly cue itself up and be ready.
Wow.
To play the next commercial. But the problem was, because he used to travel with my father in a motorhome with the automation system, and he would go into radio stations and pull them out into a nice air-conditioned motorhome. They put on the headphones and everything. But there was a problem that could happen. If there was light coming in through that window, it would make it lose count.
Wow.
Because there was a little thing that would cut the photo cells. Oh, and the other job I had was wiping off the tape so there was a window, because it would count these windows.
So it's almost like a cue mark on a film back in film days.
Very much.
You see a little white dot on the upper right-hand corner that told you to change the reel.
And it would be a stepping relay, and I got into relays and stepping relays. I was just totally into it.
So how did you come to CBS?
Well, now, I was working for the Lawrence Hall of Science in UC Berkeley, living in San Francisco, and it wasn't working out so well. After I did my fabulous video colorizer, I was like, what now? So I needed a job, and I didn't want to go home and live with my mom. So I basically went to the liquor store across the street. There was a payphone with a Yellow Pages in it, okay? And I knew video, so I went to the last page, video. There's a company called Western Videotape Productions, and they happened to be hiring. I could fix things. They had problems I understood. So I looked down the hall, and it says, CBS Network. I had no idea. Okay, so I'm checking it out. Well, the guy was a CBS cameraman from way back, Skip Brown, famous cameraman, did Vietnam and all this. But he was a character, and he had his primary sound man, but he needed a backup sound guy. And he was such a character that no one in the Bay Area wanted to be sound man for him.
When you say character, he was difficult to deal with.
Yeah, you can say that. So I could fix things, and I could take abuse. One time he got so mad because he lost the plane tickets, and he yelled at me.
Like it's your fault.
So from then on, I looked where he had the plane tickets.
You got the tickets?
I got them. I see what you're doing. So anyway, and then it was great. I traveled, kept going. They asked me to come to L.A. Then they asked me to go to New York. So, it took off.
In New York, you work for a lot of different people, including 60 Minutes. You travel the world and doing remote setups, which really means you're dealing with whatever happens that you didn't plan for.
That's for sure. It could just happen, and the phone could just ring. I'd jump on a plane and go to when the Russians shut down the Korean airline. We were on the airplane, within hours. We're on the same flight, going the same direction. And I had time to pack dirty clothes in a suitcase.
Clean them later.
I hadn't had a shower. We got on a very long flight. We get to South Korea, and we didn't have any paperwork. So we had to sit in this little office for about 3 hours.
You had no passport?
We had no visa.
You just get into the country.
So we sat in this little place, stinky smelling. Anyway, so that's the really exotic part.
Let's step back a minute, though, because something happened when you were in L.A., or was it San Francisco?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yep.
That you were before always behind the scenes. All of a sudden, one day you ended up actually being interviewed by Harry Smith.
Yeah. I lived right next to TV City. It's called TV City. And there was an earthquake. You'll hear a little bit the story, so I won't give it away. But because I lived right next to it, and the earthquake happened, I went into the office and let's go ahead and play this if I can figure out how to do it.
All right.
I'm going to go here.
We've got Rob Schafer on the phone of CBS News in Los Angeles. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
Tell us where you were and what happened when you felt this thing about 4:30 this morning.
I'm in the bureau here at TV City, and it was pretty scary. I have a camera next to my bed that I've always thought I would jump out of bed with the camera and shoot, and I was too scared to do that. I went for the door jam. It was a loud one. A lot of things fell. A lot of stuff broke. I've got some calls in from some people. Our desk guy who's not in, Jeff Facino, his house has had a lot of damage. He's near the Pacoima Dam, and he says he heard what he thought was the dam breaking. He heard the flowing of water. That's in near Pacoima. I've got another person who called in who was one of our freelance cameramen who's heading in, except that he's bleeding. He was hit by flying glass. Also, someone called in from Lake Arrowhead. Another one of our cameramen said they felt it very, very strong up there. It was a good one.
Rob, just for people who may just be waking up and joining us down the line here this morning, we want to reiterate that an earthquake has hit the Los Angeles area. It hit first 4:30 this morning, your time, Pacific time. How long do you feel like it lasted where you were?
It could have been about a minute. It was very strong in the beginning, and then it was followed almost immediately by a couple of aftershocks. So it's rocking and rolling out here.
And you were in your home when this happened?
Yes, I was.
And what kind of damage happened to your house?
My place, I'm in an apartment building. It rocked pretty hard, but it's pretty solid. Shelves fell, things fell off the wall, but no broken glass. Just real loud. And then there's a water pipe that was burst, so getting out of the building, I got wet trying to get out the building.
So you left your apartment and went to TV City, where our CBS News bureau is. As you traveled in, what did you see?
It's dark. I didn't see any sign of fires or any damage. I didn't see any buildings down between there and here. I live just right across the street. However, the power in this entire area is out.
And how long have you lived out there?
I've lived in California my whole life.
And relative to other quakes you have experienced, what was this one like?
This is up there. This rates. It scared me, and usually earthquakes don't scare me. I go, oh well, it's just going back and forth. It's like being in a motorhome, no big deal. This one scared me, so I would. It's got to be up there. I think it rates.
And as you have been able to listen to other media out there, local media, and look at now, are your wire machines running? Do you have access to local information?
I haven't gotten there yet. I was just trying to get up a live shot so far, and kind of put some of the stuff that fell off the shelves. So here's another aftershock right there. That's a good one. No, I haven't seen the wires yet, Harry. Sorry.
All right, I'll tell you what, Rob. I'm going to let you do your work for a minute or two, and Paul and I can try and put pieces together from the wire services that we have here and get other folks on the line.
Very good. Had you ever been on the air before?
Nope, not at all.
But I think, does it help being around it all the time? Because one of your descriptions was that he said what he thought he heard was the dam breaking. Most people would have said he heard the dam breaking, but that was very accurate of you to say it that way.
I learned a lot about journalism just by watching. It was very, very, what's the right word, CBS in the beginning, it was very principled.
Yes.
There were things you did not do. You never would set something up. I remember going out, there was a story about...
You never recreated anything.
Nope.
It's all
Nope.
after the fact, and you got as many versions of that story as you could to present it accurately.
We went to shoot something as simple as something about, fuel prices or something, and we go to this gas station, and the shot they wanted was of someone putting gas in. And you might think you'd ask somebody to go ahead and put gas in. Nope, you didn't do that. So it was. I learned a lot and respected a lot about journalism.
And so did I. I mean, that was when I first got in. I thought Walter Cronkite was it, and so I would talk like this when I would do stories. And today, people saw things happen they had never seen before. And the newsreader goes, "Earl, that sounds like Walter Cronkite." He goes, "Do you think so?" He goes, "Yeah, but we already got him. You need to be you." Which he was absolutely right. But I think it's like a lot of entertainers. They sound like somebody, so they try to emulate that. But what I did emulate was the professionalism, the presenting the news, both sides of the story, and letting people decide for themselves what they think is going on. And I think that has gone away. I mean, you saw the business evolve at the network and world level. I mean, you traveled with 60 Minutes and the correspondents there. Were the correspondents on 60 Minutes, were they all regular Joes, or were there some prima donnas?
Well, I'll tell you. I worked really for 60 Minutes, seriously worked once. And I worked with Ed Bradley. And we went to Cambodia. I knew it was going to be the highlight of my career at CBS. I was under a lot of pressure. It was like, I need to fix things, but we're in Cambodia. How do you fix things? So everyone was going back to Vietnam. It was 10 years after Vietnam. Ed Bradley wanted to go with the cameraman. They took off from Cambodia at the very end. So they wanted to go back to Cambodia. You know, Norman Lloyd, the other amazing cameraman I worked with, he took me with them. And so...
Because you want people that you can count on, that know what they're doing. Because as we discussed earlier, whenever you go away from a studio, there's all the events that can take place that you did not count on.
Nope, not at all. And Ed Bradley was remarkable. It was absolutely remarkable. And Cambodia was incredible. We, the first day, we go to the killing fields. And we go to this prison where everyone who was there was tortured and killed. And the Khmer Rouge put photographs on the walls
of all the people.
And you could see in the faces of each person, children, old age, whatever, that they knew
they were
going to be tortured and killed.
Wow.
So it was stuff like that. It was, oh, my God. And, yeah, Ed Bradley was remarkable.
How did the Vietnamese treat you and the Cambodians returning 10 years later?
Well, it's interesting because the United States wasn't happy with Cambodia at all, with the Vietnamese. We still, hated them. And they basically took over Cambodia to get rid of Pol Pot, who was the guy who was like killing everybody. So the Vietnamese were kind of cool. I mean, one night we were on a thing called cyclos. If you know what a rickshaw is,
sure.
Let me switch back to myself. So a rickshaw is the guy, the bicycle in the front and you're in the back. A cyclo is you're like in a wheelchair and the guy's behind you. So we are going down the street at night. It's very relaxing. Over there are some Vietnamese military, some like guards. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? It's like, no problem. So there was a sense that them coming in made everything, maybe like the National Guard, made everyone happy and feel safe because they got rid of Pol Pot. So, but Ed Bradley was remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
You worked with Leslie Stahl. You were in some foreign country and you were all set up to go. And she comes and goes, no.
Yeah, Leslie Stahl, she was a character. So Helsinki, I forget. Because, news guys, it's not the quality of, it's not electronic field production. It's like not electronic news gathering. But she's going to be on the air for a while. There's big scaffolding set up. And I'm with the camera guys. I'm like hooking wires and sound stuff, but they're doing the shots. And so how do we get that building? How do we get this great? And they finally got a great shot. And Leslie shows up and says, no. You can't have a camera looking up to me. It has to be looking down at me. Okay. She wanted to look good. I mean, she was a great journalist, but kind of, she was, how that goes. But,
one of the other things you got some video of is this Bush Sr. or is this W?
Well, in fact, I don't have video of that. I wish I did, but it's a good story.
Oh, okay.
Here's what happens. What can happen sometimes is your pool. And pool is you shoot for all the networks. So the pressures
they all get the same thing.
Ratcheted up, yeah. So it's an interview of the president. Oh, it's the 50th anniversary of the signing of the end of the Japanese. It's on the USS Missouri. And they gave up unconditional surrender. Anyway, so it's the 50th anniversary. We're there, and Bush is going to be interviewed by CBS, NBC, ABC, and it's really interesting. And CNN, at that time, those were the 4 networks. So for one thing, I'm the sound guy. And the White House says, you know what? We're controlling the mics. You can hook it all up, but we're going to get in the middle. And right before air, we're going to turn it off. Why would you do that? Well, remember, you may not remember, when Reagan made this comment, this awful
bombing begins
the bombing
in 20 minutes.
Moscow. Yeah. Imagine how the White House people felt. So they were going to kill the audio. Now I explained patiently to each network, ABC, NBC, CBS. I told them, listen, it's going to go quiet. And of course, when it came time to CBS, they freaked out. They absolutely freaked out. Say, hey, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. So we're doing the networks, and the one that was, there's a lot of people, and I'm doing to all the networks. And so the one that was most ABC had the Super Bowl on, and it was going to be up on the big screen, right? And somehow that made me more nervous. The Super Bowl, okay. So everything's going well, and so I'm not even supposed to put the microphone in the president. Like, just, you don't do that. Just you here, I won't take care of that. Okay. So ABC, CBS, and something's suddenly wrong with CNN. CNN wants to bring in their second camera. They want that camera too. And the White House says, no. Not only no, but F no. Just out of here. We're not going to, oh, no. So I'm not even worried about CNN. ABC, NBC, CBS, it's all done. Everything's like wrapping up. And they finally go, oh, please, we want it. No. Okay, so right then they go, okay, you can interview the president. And I look over and the mic is not on the president.
The only way to get it there is you got to put it on.
I switch into automatic. I just go over, I put the mic on the president, I come back and I think, oh, the White House is going to be unhappy with me. They weren't, because it would have been very embarrassing if the president. So it worked out well, okay, fine. So it comes time for the photo op, with the president. Okay, well, I'm doing wires. I don't, that part never really mattered much to me. So it's okay, Robert, come on up. And it's like, so I go up, and this cameraman is moving back further and further to get a wide enough shot to get the people.
And these are all the crew that's on the shoot?
This is the crew and the president and So it's too wide, and I'm worried about this guy. He's the wide shot. So, okay, fine. So I kind of go one in and put my head between two guys. Well, the president thinks I want to be closer to him. So he grabs me and holds me right next to him. It's like, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't vote for you, but this is very nice. He was a very nice man. And
this is senior Bush.
Actually, Bush number 1, yes, senior Bush. Yeah. Really, really cool guy. So anyway, I think those are my two good. Let's go
well,
back
there's a jillion others, but I wanted to give people an idea of the different variety of things that you were exposed to all those years, and plus living in New York City. Then you moved to Memphis with Beth and
retired, and we came here because our family's here.
And you've been back, I guess, a couple of years because you had you on my show when I was doing radio, just talking about what it was like moving from New York to Memphis and how you were adjusting. And then when I got ready to do the show, we hooked up, and I said, "Let's talk about it." So we sat down and talked about it. Then all the equipment came in, and we unboxed it.
Oh, we're talking about here now. I remember. Okay, I've got a camera shot.
Okay,
hold on here. Okay, here it is. Here's this stuff.
All this. Well, not even this. All was here. The cameras that you see on the tripod. There's 2 of them. There's another one behind Rob that you're looking through. And we had mics and lights and a switcher that is called a Rode switcher, which is right there.
The Rodecaster Video, which is a remarkable piece of equipment.
It really does everything a TV station can do.
This was, if you go back 20 years, this is $30,000-$40,000 worth of function, and it's like $1,000. It's just like amazing.
And so we started putting it all together to make it happen. And I'd done a show, some of this from my home back during the pandemic for 2 years. And I figured it all out myself, but it was all wireless, and this is not wireless. If you look at all the wires it takes to hook all this stuff up.
Yeah.
And we really had to, we started out, we had an internal soundboard. Now we got a sound mixer to the far right of Rob over there. Show them where the mixer is, right?
It's
right
the
there.
mixer.
And
Basically, because we can sometimes have 3 cameras when he wants to have 2 guests. He's always adding something. I said all this stuff, and I said, what else? What else, Hal? So,
but it also other audio sources and other video sources. So you needed that. They also need an Apple computer as opposed to.
It could be any. Of course, I'm an Apple guy, so it's the Apple's.
But the problem with the conventional, what most people have, which is I can't even think of the name of it now. Microsoft.
Oh, Windows. Yeah. It's gonna pop up. You can tame a Windows machine, but I don't want to be live on the air
and have pop-ups
and have to fight with it.
Yeah.
Like I need to suddenly do this. I need that file, and people who love Windows, they love Windows, even though they complain about the newest version. You got to really hammer it to get rid of the.
In nearly every show, we've got what's called B-roll, which is video that is from another source done earlier. And so we needed monitors. So Rob gets these, which are, it actually shows what we're showing to people as we're live on the air. But then when we roll B-roll, you can see that, and our guests can have their own monitors. So we needed that. But then we needed an iPad, which is right here, that a lot of times we'll have a number of still pictures, and I will actually manipulate those. But it's just amazing to me what we've done in the 7 months we've been doing this, where we started and where we're at now. And now we're getting ready to add another location to the show. The Southern Security is our main sponsor. Don Grader, who's the CEO, said, why don't we set up another location for you in our new building that's getting ready to open, which it's just opened recently, on Bahalia Road, just south of the downtown Collierville. And it's a spectacular building. We're going to have another location there, and we'll probably be starting as soon as all the Wi-Fi and all the intranet is available, so we can do the show there live. And so we'll continue.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt for a second. Sorry. I can do this because I can do the switch. We're using Wi-Fi here, okay? No sane engineer would ever say do Wi-Fi. Well, we're in Lansky's. We're in the Peabody. Okay, let me do this shot. And you just don't do this live. Well, of course, out in Collierville, it'll be, we'll have Ethernet. It'll be solid. It's a bank. I mean, it's a security. And but here, it's always like the Wi-Fi is great, or the Wi-Fi isn't great. And we just...
And you never know why it fluctuates.
Nope.
But that's Wi-Fi. I mean,
nope,
it's just
that's
not,
Wi-Fi. Nobody would do that.
You do see it all the time on the networks when they have somebody that zooms in to the shows, and it looks fantastic, and then all of a sudden it just disappears, or the audio disappears. But
they have something even fancier, because I learned about this, the Live View. It's a backpack.
Yeah.
And it has like 5 cell phones in it. And every which way it can go out, and it goes back to this thing, and it gets all put... But even then, it doesn't work all the time. So wireless is... Anyway.
It's unpredictable at the very best.
Yep.
I have a lot of people ask me and said, I've been thinking about doing a podcast. I will say this, I have so many young people come up to me and say, you do a podcast? I mean, saying I was on television, not anymore, that's not a big deal. Saying I had a radio show, that's not a big deal. But saying you do a video podcast now, that is where it's all going, which is the reason I left radio and said, let's go do this show, because it really is a TV show, but you make it specific to what you want to do. And what we wanted to do was show positive things about Memphis, about the Peabody, about the Lanskys.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt again. Because I can. I got the buttons and I can do this. So,
and you got a microphone.
And a microphone. So Lansky's is remarkable. He probably said, I'm going to say it again. We have a very short amount of time that we clear off the table. I come in, I set up all the gear, and then we do the show, and then we break it down in time for the ducks to march, right? Yep. Got to get out of here for the ducks to march.
People are arriving now for that.
Yeah. So I pull it out really well organized, and I do all that, but when it comes time to break down, I take all the wires, I just put them in a case. And then I take them home, and then I sort them out. So that's okay. Back to you, Earl.
You got some time lapse, and we'll show that sometime of you doing that.
If I could bring it up, I would.
Take a wide shot again.
Okay.
The store is always open when we're here, filming and doing this.
Open.
And so we see people from all over the world coming in here, and they're around us. They'll come behind us sometimes to check out a shirt back over to our right. but there's probably 12 people in the store right now, which is why they have these Sennheiser mics, because they're very directional, and they're all in here talking, they're laughing, having a good time. People in the lobby that are arriving to see the ducks are out there, and we're just right in among them. And it's amazing. I mean, even though we're obviously doing some kind of a show here with headsets and cameras, people pay us no attention, no attention at all. They're looking at clothes and they're in Lansky's. They're happy. But it's been a great experience. Everybody that comes on the show loves coming here, and a lot of people hadn't been downtown in years, and that's the other reason we wanted to come here, is to get people to start coming back downtown. Rob and Beth live downtown at the old Rivermont, and they love it down here. And Rob said he had never moved to Memphis, and then he saw the view from the Rivermont. He goes, okay, maybe I'll take a look at it.
The Mississippi River, from that end to the other end. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Well, it's been a great experience. I love doing the show with Rob and Beth and Kathy, because she helps out a lot with us too. People enjoy coming on the show, and people enjoy watching the show, because no politics, no dead bodies, no crime. It's just about stuff that most people used to talk about all the time, and you can't find it on television now. It's all the other stuff. And so that's why we're here. I hope you enjoy it. And we're going to keep doing it until they say you can't, or Hal throws us out. But Rob, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. And
you betcha, man. You betcha. This is fun. Yeah, this is fun.
I can't imagine you sit around watching soap operas, so I think that this is a good thing.
No. Never happened.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in today. You can catch this again on YouTube after today's show on Facebook. And so if you want to see all the shows, you go out to YouTube and see all of them. They're all lined up there waiting for you. And we'll see you next time, live from Lansky's.